Hello and good day everyone. Welcome to my channel, Teatime and Spells. My name is Melissa and in today's video I'm going to be doing a WIP and chat. A WIP stands for work in progress for those who do not know, and my work in progress is going to be this diamond painting, which is Kat Fedora's The Apprentice, and this is from Jaded Gem Shop, and this is her hybrid version, which is more of the confetti heavy computer rendered version. She does have another version, she calls it her pixel charted, which is basically her hand charted version, and that one is more color blocking. It's also a lot more sharper, but for me, I bought this one thinking it was the pixel, and I've seen a side-by-side comparison about it, and I decided that I was just going to go ahead and keep this one. I bought it off of Vacay for a good deal, and we're going to see how it goes. I apologize for the long-winded intro, but if you would like to hear what's been going on with me for the last couple weeks, then grab yourself your own WIP, maybe a snack or two, perhaps something to drink. I am going to be drinking some delicious strawberry hot tea, and I need to make sure to actually drink it while doing this WIP and chat because my throat is on fire. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so one of the things about Jaded Gem Shop's canvases that I have noticed. First off, it does not have the perforated cover sheet. Theirs is really nice, actually. It's kind of a nice, thicker perforated sheet. So I had to do the good old-fashioned sectioning with washi tape trick. And I decided to use my fun new washi tape that I got from Michaels. This is that potions, spells, curses, and it's got like cats featured on it. And I thought, since this one is about a cat, that it fit really well. And for me, I just used the release paper that Jade includes with her canvases, and I just used this size as kind of a rough estimate for where to section off. I didn't do the entire canvas because I don't know if I like it or not, but I decided to do, you know, the sections that this first top, and then as I peel along, because I like to go from right to left, top to bottom, and I figure, you know, I'll do like the outline here so it's not so sticky, and then I'll kind of continue that and see how that works. We'll see. And it just so happens this is a 60 by 60, and 3 of these actually fit the whole top. So it works out. And then what I like to do is I like to use this as like a place to rest my hand while I'm working on it, because it's very confetti heavy. This brings me back to the days of when I first started diamond painting, and I bought those first few off of Amazon, and I didn't know any better. These remind me of that when it comes to like the confetti. Knowing what I know now, I know that this is primarily computer generated, computer charted, which is fine. It gives more of a realistic look to the actual image, which, let me grab it. So this, let's get it in frame here. There we go. This is the original image by Kat Fedora. It's called The Apprentice. And this one, as you can see, has a more watercolor, very soft look and feel to it. And the computer rendering does that look justice. And my son has provided us with a guest appearance. This is Drago. Everyone say hi to Drago. All right. Now Drago's gonna go back to bed now. Thank you. So for those who don't know, The Apprentice is offered in Jade's shop, and she has it in 2 versions. She's got the one with pixel charted, which is a more sharper image, and then she's got the one that is computer charted, which she calls hybrid, and that's the one I have now, and it's going to be much more confetti heavy. if you are interested in seeing kind of a comparison, a side-by-side on what those two look like, then Kat's Diamond Painting, I'll link her channel in the description box. She has a series going on right now where it is a comparison side-by-side. And it's pretty striking. It's very different. So well worth it to look at her videos. I did when it came to this particular piece. Mind you, I didn't look at it until after I bought this one because I was naive and it was my first time ordering off of Vacay, and I didn't know what to look for, like what version. I got very confused on Jade's shop as to what hybrid and pixel charted meant. To me, pixel charted sounded like that was the computer charted one and hybrid was more hand drawn, but it's really the other way around. So I got very confused. But I ordered this from Vacay, from a destasher, and I didn't want to destash it back and go through the whole hassle. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. It's going to be a new thing for me. I'm going to try it out and see how it goes. So here we are. It is different compared to Diamond Art Club. The symbols definitely threw me for a loop. They're very different from what I'm used to. But there are other things that I have been very pleasantly surprised with. The glue and the canvas are amazing. Jade does a great job sourcing her canvases and the glue on these canvases. Like, it's really good quality. I've been very impressed. And her drills. So the way she did them kind of made me chuckle because she had all of the drills in like 3 bags, and they weren't necessarily in any kind of order that I could tell. They were just kind of together, and she would have all of one color together in a long line. So let me give you an example here. So for instance, here we have 3363, and she would have, you know, like maybe these 3 together, and you would be like, oh, cool. So there's only 3 of them. Well, then you would find like a couple more of these strands just willy-nilly. And I'm like, oh, okay. So when it came time to kit up, like here I got 3799. I got like 5 of these. But then when it came time to kit up, I'm like, okay, here's all of 3799. And then I would go and I would find like strands of these little bags of the same color. And I'm like, okay, well that doesn't make any sense. So I have no idea what the thought process is on that. A lot more plastic is kind of what I found. But the drills themselves have been really good. I've come across only a couple trash so far. Obviously, I just started. This is just the beginning of it, but when I was kitting up and, you know, while I've been placing, I've noticed that the drill quality has been really good. And the drill field has been nice too. I've noticed it has been very nice, not too tight where things are popping, but not too, you know, gappy either. It's been a nice compromise from what I can tell. Due to the fact that it is confetti heavy, obviously I'm doing quite a bit more single placing, which is not usually my cup of tea. But I'm going out of my comfort zone a little bit with a confetti heavy piece. And I originally wasn't going to start this piece until September 1st for the Cat Fedora DP along. However, I finished Fairy Lights. I have a review, post-review video coming. It's one of a few videos that I've got coming. I apologize. I have been sick and I got back from vacation. It's just been coming back to work after vacation was chaos. Yeah, there was a lot going on. But anyways, I finished Fairy Lights by Ivy Dolomore. Turned out great. And I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, okay, well, which one do I want to do next? Because it's the middle of August, and September 1st starts drills and chills and the whole spooky season and all that jazz. So I'm like, okay, well, I kind of don't want to start anything too massive, because then I want to make sure I have enough time for, Spooky Gamer Girl and my Cat Fedora one. So I was like, all right, I got permission from my boss, the doctor I work for at the clinic, that I can go ahead and do Autumn Sunset by Joanna Gerard. So I'm like, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and kit that one up. That's going to be kind of like my big project that I'm going to work on for like the first couple, or for the last 2 weeks of August, while I'm, waiting for September to start. And then I could put that off to the side, work on this Cat Fedora one, and work on Spooky Gamer Girl. Well, I purchased the Forever Young storage tray set for it, ran into some problems, so I had to kind of put kitting it up on hold, which meant working on it on hold. And I'm like, well, darn, what do I do now? And, Spooky Gamer Girl is my entry into Drills and Chills 2025, and that requires a fresh start and a completion. So I couldn't work on that one. And Autumn Sunset was kind of off the table right now because I didn't want to kit it up and then have to transfer kitting it up. So I just decided to wait on that one. So I looked into the rules for the Cat Fedora DP Along, and it didn't require a fresh start or a finish or anything. It's actually a really chill event. So I'm like, well, let's just go ahead and kit it up, and then, I'll just start working on it. And then, when I get my Forever Young storage tray solution figured out, then I can, start swapping between the two. So that's what I decided to do. The Forever Young tray storage solution, I will have a video going. In fact, the first part of it's already recorded, and the second part of the video will be recorded as soon as I have a resolution, which will hopefully be Friday. Today is Wednesday, August 20th. So hopefully by Friday I will be able to complete that video, and I think you guys are going to like it. It's going to be a very real, very honest experience with Forever Young, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, what has been going on? Okay, a lot, because it's been a couple weeks. Let's pause for a second. I need to make sure to drink my tea. Gotta keep my throat going. So, at the beginning of August, I went on vacation to go visit family in California for a week. Amazing trip. I am so happy that I ended up doing it, because my aunt, she was turning 70, and we were flying out to celebrate her 70th birthday. And she's had a lot of health condition and stuff going on most of her life, honestly. And so, we never thought that she would maybe make it this far. So glad and blessed that she has. And she was in awesome spirits. She was in pretty good health too. So we were very, very happy about that. And we got to spend a lot of time with her. But what was really awesome is a lot of my family who live in California, in Sacramento, they came out to celebrate as well. And it ended up turning into kind of like a mini family reunion, because a lot of the family who lived outside of California decided to fly in and surprise her and the rest of the family as well. So that was an amazing surprise. We were so happy. She got very emotional, very teary-eyed. We caught it all on film. Had to, absolutely. And, she was just so overwhelmed and so happy. She felt very loved, and it was awesome. The family hadn't came together in about 7 years, when my uncle, my mom and my aunt's brother when he passed away. That was kind of the last real time that everyone got together. So not exactly a great reason. So this time it was quite the opposite, We were celebrating life and, instead of doing a remembrance of life. And so that was really, really nice. Got to visit with a lot of my family, got to catch up with them, got to meet a lot of the new family members, a lot of my cousins since I saw them last 7 years ago, started families of their own, got married, their kids were starting school, and yeah, so that was really, really nice. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience, and very, very happy that I took the time to go do that. And it ended up being kind of a girls' trip where it was my mom, my sister, and I who went. And our spouses and kids stayed back home. That way, we didn't have to worry about lodging and transportation and food for everybody because, we don't eat a lot. Cannot say the same about my spouse and my son. They can eat some. So, it was kind of nice to not have to worry about that. And, it just made it much more relaxing. And, it was nice that I got to have just a nice bonding trip with my mom and my sister. So that was very nice. And we ended up staying with an aunt, and she allowed us to borrow her vehicle and everything. I did not drive. I do not enjoy driving. I grew up in California. I've driven in California before, but after living in South Dakota for like 18 years, I don't miss the traffic. I don't miss the traffic. I do not miss the driving. Not that I'm scared of it. I just didn't want to drive in it. I didn't want to deal with it. So my sister drove. She drove pretty much everywhere. Like if I wanted to go somewhere, which I did, she was the one who primarily drove. And there were a couple places that were on my list that I wanted to go. First and foremost, I wanted to go to a mall. I wanted to remember what a real mall felt like, because where I live, my mall is a thrift store, primarily a single thrift store, and that is not a mall. The closest actual mall where I live is about an hour and a half drive. Or if I wanted to go to the next state over to Minnesota, then it would be the Mall of America. But I wanted to go to a mall that I grew up with. And that happened to be the Galleria Mall, which I am going to age myself right here if any of you live in the Sacramento area, because the Galleria Mall apparently turned 25 this year. And I remember that mall being built. So I feel very, very old now, even though I'm not that old. I was a teenager when I went to the Galleria, but still, I was feeling my age just a little bit, but it was still just as amazing as I remembered. It was just so nice to see all the different stores, and I get it, we have online shopping these days and stuff, but when you don't know what you want and you're looking for ideas, it is so nice to be able to go to a mall and just window shop. Take in all the cool sights, sounds, people. I miss diversity. South Dakota is not a very diverse place. And I very much missed diversity. I miss seeing the different types of people, the different religions and cultures and races and everything. I missed it all, and it was really refreshing to see that, because I grew up with that. I had friends that, were from all aspects of life, and, I kind of missed that. I missed the food, too. I had some very good food while I was in California. Very good food, and it was just as good as I remember. Sometimes nostalgia can cloud our vision a little bit, but nope, my nostalgic goggles were portraying the truth the entire time. But it was kind of cool to see some of the places that, are gone now, and what's kind of taken their place. For those who may have grown up in the rental video era of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, seeing some of those old places turn into different types of storefronts and stuff was kind of very weird. In fact, my sister and I went to go get some Chinese for supper one night. And my aunt was like, oh yeah, just go to this place down the road. You know, it's not very far from here. They've got excellent Chinese. Okay, cool. So, you know, we find the Chinese food place. No problem. And we were sitting there waiting for the food. And we kept looking at the place and we're like, man, this place looks really familiar. Why is that? And then we put in the address. And we're like, oh my God, it was an old Hollywood Video rental store location that we used to frequent all the time. Growing up, the weekend began Friday night with a trip to the video store after eating out, and we would rent our videos and our games for the weekend or the week, and then we would return them like 5 days later. Because I think Hollywood Video, you could rent stuff for like 5 days. Unless it was a brand new release, then it was 2. But that was so trippy to look at it, because the place that we were in, this Chinese food place, it was one of 3. Like 3 stores occupied this space that used to be Hollywood Video. And we're like, wow, was it really that massive? And I was like, yeah, it really was. Like, God, I think I was talking about this in one of my last whipping chats. Kids nowadays, man, they're missing out. They don't get the thrill of the mall. They don't get the thrill of going to the video store and renting their next videos or their next games, video games. Because I remember I would rent video games, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9. Those were like my go-to games that I would constantly be renting from the Hollywood store. And I would, because, you know, they were like 4-disc long games. And I wasn't going to be able to finish it in a weekend. But I remember just constantly and looking for like the latest anime, because I was a massive anime nerd growing up. Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Cardcaptor Sakura. Like, oh, I remember going nuts on when Toonami would air those anime. And again, I am aging myself with like Toonami and everything. Cartoon Network doesn't even exist anymore. It is sad. Like, I have to say, I had a pretty damn good childhood growing up. I have really fond memories of my childhood. And, you know, it's a little bittersweet when you look back at it some years later. And everything's changed. It's not as easy as it used to be, but then at the same time, some things haven't changed. Like going to the mall was still the same. Going to our favorite ice cream parlor was still the same. Jim Boy's tacos are still as good and greasy as ever. So it was just kind of, it was fun going down memory lane. And like we took a trip to like some of our old neighborhoods that we used to live at and seeing how things changed. Some not so good. You kind of grow up thinking, oh yeah, we live in a pretty good neighborhood. And then, a couple decades pass and you're like, ooh, neighborhood did not age well. You know, there was a couple places like that. And then you would go into other areas and you're like, yeah, no, nothing's changed at all. It's interesting how certain neighborhoods do that. How some age better than others, even though, you know, they were still considered to be, you know, really nice neighborhoods at their time. It kind of reminds me of that scene from Back to the Future 2, where Marty is like, oh, cool, you know, I live in this area, because it was like the up and, you know, coming area, really nice, kind of really well-to-do area. And then, like, however long they go to the future, a few decades or something, and the police are dropping off the girl, and like, oh my God, they live in this dump. And I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, it kind of felt a little bit like that. It's just interesting. Time affects people and places just differently. And it's interesting to see especially having gone away from it for so long, to come back and be like, yeah, things have changed. Especially when it came to development. Oh my goodness, nothing's changed in that regard. Like, there was so much construction, and I remember things being built and stuff growing up all the time too, and nothing has changed there. But California also has a much larger population compared to South Dakota, so it makes sense. You know, you need to keep building all these places and these homes for everybody, because, you know, there are still a lot of people who live in California. And, you know, there are some things that I agree with when it comes to California, and there's things that I don't. Definitely, I'm not going to go into any of that here, but, you know, I don't blame people who want to live in California, because there is a lot of good opportunity there, especially when it comes to like schooling, because there's a couple things that I took for granted. And when I moved out to South Dakota, there were a few things that I was kind of blown away with, and just kind of assumed like everywhere had things like that. And nope, that was not the case. A good example, community college. Community college does not exist in South Dakota. Vocational colleges exist, but they are not the same as a community college. And I remember looking, mind you, this was a good 15 years ago or so, but I remember looking at the general map and trying to find out, where's the nearest community college? And I don't even know if Minnesota had one. They might now, but at the time, I don't think they even had one. I didn't think there was a community college in like a 3-state radius. So that just kind of like blew me away, because I thought every state had a community college, but no, that is not the case. And that was kind of a bummer, because college is expensive, but like, what if I just wanted to go to college to learn Japanese, or cake decorating, or I just want to do a pottery class? You know, like, you could kind of do that with community college. You can't really do that now. Your closest option would be like some kind of individual tutor type class, which, you know, doesn't really exist too much out here. So that was just kind of one of those things that you kind of took for granted, and people kind of looked at you a little weird when you're like, oh, well, what about community college? And like, huh? I'm like, oh, never mind. That is not apparently an option. Weather's another thing. The weather was gorgeous while we were out there. And yeah, California weather, it is very true what they say about California weather. It is absolutely gorgeous. It was hot, although not as hot as it normally is, because it was only in like the 90s at the time. They were going to have a little bit of a heat wave in the hundreds by the weekend that I left, but the entire time we were there, no, it was gorgeous. Low 90s. And we were staying with an aunt who had a pool, and I only got to go in the pool a couple times because we had family visiting all the time, so we were busy. We were busy visiting family and, you know, catching up with everybody, which was nice. You know, that was the whole point of why we were out there. So I'm glad I did not pack my suitcase full of like diamond paintings and stuff like that, because I would not have had the time to do them. Plus, I had to have room for the diamond paintings that I bought. So, speaking of, the second place I really wanted to go to while I was in California was a Michael's, because I wanted to see all the cool, spooky Halloween kits that they had for 2025. And man, oh man, did they not disappoint. I was going ballistic in that store. I was having so much fun. It's probably a good thing that I didn't have enough luggage space, because I could have seriously bought so much. I would have bought so many more than what I bought already. And coming home, my husband's like, well, you can buy the rest. And I'm like, you know what? No, I bought a lot. and I have so many diamond paintings as it is. I need to realistically start working on them more than buying them. But have I listened to that? Yes and no. I may have bought another one since then, but I have been trying to work on them, and in fact, I have been getting a couple of them completed. I did finish my Halloween cocktails, so I need to do a video and showcase a kind of comparison between Michael's Halloween mini kit and Diamond Art Club's Dragon Mini Dazzle Kit. I don't know if it's really a fair apples to apples comparison, but I just kind of wanted to show a little bit of a comparison video on what my thoughts were on these two particular mini kits, because they both were that. They were both mini kits. They were both partials, and I kind of wanted to showcase kind of the differences between the two and what my thoughts were, because I definitely have some thoughts, good, bad, and a lot in between. And, you know, I just thought, I'll just do a nice comparison video on both of them that would also act as kind of like a post-review video. So I will be trying to get that done hopefully in the next few days here. I've been kind of playing catch up because shortly after I got back from vacation, I came back to work, and it was myself that went on vacation along with the main doctor and owner of the practice. And we had just finished moving in to this brand new location the week before. So there were definitely going to be things that, you know, maybe some little quirks or something that we hadn't ironed out and stuff like that. So I was very prepared for that. And it did not disappoint. We had severe weather the entire time that we were gone, which messed with a lot of the internet stuff. And so the lone doctor who was, you know, working by himself that entire time, you know, he had a list of stuff that he's like, hey, you know, there's this, this, and this. So I was playing catch up for like the first few days on trying to get everything back up to normal. So I was feeling pretty wiped. And then Friday last week, you know, we had my parents over for supper, because we usually do a family supper / game night every week. We try to do that, you know, every week, every other week. So we did that, and I made a really good pot roast and stuff. Well, that Saturday, you know, we started the day off like normal, got haircuts for everybody, did some shoe shopping for back to school. And then like the afternoon hits for Saturday, and my husband and I got sick. And I mean, it was bad sick. Thankfully we have 2 bathrooms in our house, because my husband and I were taking up one each for like the rest of the weekend. I don't know what it was, but I swear it was either a bad case of food poisoning, although I don't know what it could have been from, because the meat that I cooked for the pot roast was fresh. The veggies were fresh, the, you know, carrots and the potatoes. I don't know. And my parents were fine. Our son was fine. It was just me and my husband. And I mean, we were sicker than dogs. Horrible muscle cramps and stomach aches, and oh my gosh, couldn't keep anything down. It was horrible. And so we were both sick Monday. I mean, we couldn't go into work Monday either. And I felt really bad because it was back to school night for our son. So I had to text his teacher and be like, I'm so sorry, but we can't make it. We are sick. And so Monday felt like crap. Tuesday, feeling kind of better, but just exhausted. Apparently, I looked as bad as I felt, because a lot of patients commented saying, man, you do not look good. And I'm like, thanks. I'm getting over food poisoning, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so the last few days were pretty rough. Today is probably the first day that I felt not bad. And that was based off of like 4 hours of sleep. Thank goodness for caffeine. Coffee changes the world, because I definitely needed it this morning, and it also happened to be the first day of school, so just a lot going on. But I noticed that like my throat is a little bit on the rough side, hence why I'm actually doing the breaks to sip some tea while I'm talking with you guys, but just trying to kind of catch up to everything. So I got a couple videos I want to get going. I did do that glue one. I think I did that one on Friday or Saturday night. It was a smaller one. That was a pleasant surprise, and a nice one. I'm glad I did a test on that, because if I ever need it again, it's nice to know that that worked super well. And I've moved that canvas since then, you know, kind of like shook it and everything. And those drills, they're not going anywhere. So that was nice. It's nice to get something that works as advertised. So been doing that, and then let's see. First day of school was today, which I had to drop my son off earlier because we had bags full of school supplies because we didn't make it to back to school night. So that kind of sucked. But on the plus side, I got to sleep in, which was nice because I didn't sleep well yet last night. So I got to get a little extra bit of sleep. So we did that. First day of school is in the books. And then plans for the rest of the week and weekend. Okay. I need to do that post-review video for Fairy Lights. I've got to do that comparison video on the mini diamond painting kits that I did. And then I need to do let's see, I've got a couple of things coming in the mail the next couple days. One of them is a Diamond Art Club purchase, because Ivy Dollamore came out with a brand new one and I absolutely fell in love with it. But it's a smaller one, and that's okay, because I need some smaller ones. I've got so many big boys. So I kind of wanted just a nice small one, and that one was really, really cute. I think it's called Autumn Magic. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was a smaller canvas. Not like super small, but smaller than like this. So I did buy that. That's probably my first Diamond Art Club purchase in a little while, because I've been trying to work on the ones that I've got. And then I did order from a small shop, and that order should be coming in within the next couple days. So that's exciting. And then I've got a resolution part for the video of my Forever Young tray storage solution that should be finished. So yeah, I've got a lot of videos I got to do in the next few days. I kind of got a bit of a full schedule there. I'll need to make sure to pace them out for you guys. But yeah, trying to get all that done, and then you figure next week is the last week of August. And then we've got September, which September and October are going to be super, super busy. Because we're going to be entering spooky season, and I am going to try to figure out what the best way I want to pace myself for Halloween. How I want to pace myself when it comes to diamond painting, and how I want to pace myself when it comes to like the different crafts and everything. And, you know, also enjoying the season for what it is with my family, because we love Halloween and we always like to go and do things. And let's see, September is a busy month because personally for work, we're going to be switching over EHR systems, and so that's going to be a big thing. And then personal non-work life, my 15-year anniversary with my husband is the 5th of September, and we want to go do something fun for our anniversary, and we're thinking of maybe doing something like going on a small little weekend trip somewhere. So we're kind of working on the details of that. So that's in September. And then when it comes to our son, our favorite game. So my son and I have a game that is like our game. We play this game together, and it's called Grounded. And it's a, if you've ever seen the Disney movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, it's kind of like that, where it's basically you're a group of teenagers who have been shrunken by an evil corporation, and you have to try to figure out how to survive the backyard that you've been thrown into with all the bugs that want to try to eat you, and try to figure out how to get big again and go back home. So we played the first one. Absolutely loved the first one. We had a blast. Really, really loved it. So when the second one was announced, we were super hyped for it. And it just so happened that it came out a couple days before I flew out to California. So like I told my son, we're not going to play it the day, a couple days before I fly out, because then, we wouldn't be able to play it for a whole week. So I told him, we're going to wait. No spoilers on YouTube. We're going to wait and we're going to play it together. So I come back home. Sure enough, we start playing Grounded. And that's another thing is, we enjoy playing Grounded together. It's our bonding time. That's what we enjoy doing together. So I'm going to be balancing my time between, diamond painting and, playing Grounded with him. And then also, spending time with, my husband and stuff, and, watching like the new Wednesday season 2. And, just trying to make sure that spending, ample quality time with everybody and not just focusing on just one thing like diamond painting. So, I don't expect that I'm going to have like 2 or 3 finishes in a month. If I do, they're going to be smaller. If it's something larger like this, I'm lucky if, maybe 1 a month. But realistically, I don't know if I'm going to have, the finishes that I was experiencing at the beginning of the year, because, there's a lot more going on, and, we've got, games that we're playing together and spending quality time, things like that. School's starting back up and working on homework and all that stuff too. All the fun adult responsibilities that we all have, unfortunately. But that's okay. I enjoy spending time with my family, and, Grounded 2 was one that we had been waiting anxiously for quite a while. And now that it's out, trying to take our time with it, because it's in early access, which means that it's not the completed full product. They basically released it early so that people could, play it, test it around, let them know about any bugs, maybe some, feedback on what they would like to see added to the game, things like that. So there's only a little bit of content in it right now, and, we've been taking our time, enjoying it for what it is, and, figuring out all the secrets together, because like I told him, I don't want any spoilers, nothing on YouTube. We're going to figure things out on our own. Which, by the way, is incredibly hard not to get spoiled on YouTube, when, even if you're not looking anything up, the darn thumbnails that people do, it's like, really, not everybody wants to be ruined. So that's been kind of a pain. Thankfully, I haven't seen anything too spoilery. I think it's been pretty much everything that we've seen so far, but frustrating all the same. But yeah, so we plan on doing that, and then for Halloween, I would definitely like to go and do some like haunted houses or haunted attractions or something like that. We did a few last year, but our son's getting a little bit older, so maybe we could do some that maybe are a little bit more scarier, because we have yet to find any that are too, nah, I'm not even gonna say that. They're not scary. Enjoyable and fun for what they are, but not scary. So, it'd be kind of fun to maybe find some that are actually a little bit scary. Maybe give you a couple of goosebumps or something while you're doing them. That'd be kind of nice. So yeah, gonna do that, and we got plans for some movie marathons of some of our favorite movies. And our son's getting a little older, so maybe we can start adding in some of those more older titles that we think he might be ready for. So that's always fun. Yeah, so we got some plans. Some fun plans to enjoy spooky season for all it's worth, and maybe do some new things if we can find some new things to do. We're probably going to be looking at going a couple cities over, maybe the next state over if we have to, just to do something fun and different than what we're used to. A lot of the times we'll do like the classic haunted house or something that's put on by a local community event, but kind of want to do something different this time, something a little bit more. So yeah, I'll have to look and see what kind of attractions might be going on in the future for us. But yeah, that's gonna be September and October. And during that time, I've been kind of thinking about what I want to do for this channel. And I think what I want to do is I have a couple of those small little mini kits that I got from Michaels. And those do not take very much time. And, maybe doing something like one of those kits a week in October, or, maybe like one every 2 weeks or something like that, kind of space it out for the month. I did buy those like 3D foam diorama ones. I want to kind of do those too, something different. I kind of want to do those as well and see what that was all about. And I think that would be a really good look at what kind of a book nook kit might feel like, because I have been eyeing book nook kits for like the last several months. Not that I've been reading, because I haven't had as much time. That's probably one of my biggest frustrations, is I tend to do a lot of my reading at work when it's slower. Well, it hasn't been very slow, so I haven't had much time to read. I know. I'm supposed to be working while I'm at work, and I have been. But when I'm actually caught up and I don't have work to do, I do enjoy reading. It's just that with everything going on, I've always had work to do, and it never stops. I will be so happy when my workload is done, because I know that the majority of my workload is because of the transition from the new practice location. And then, I'm still trying to onboard the new doctor. He's almost done. Insurance is not fast. And then, it figures I'm in the middle of onboarding this doctor, and then we switch locations. So I almost have to like restart the onboarding process over. Otherwise, it confuses them. And I don't want to do that. I do not want to confuse insurance. Oh, come on. My wax got a little too waxy there. Speaking of wax, for the first time since I purchased this pin from Diamond Art Clip. This is the twist and pick pin where it's got the putty preloaded in there. I actually ran out of the putty and I had to fill it back up. That was a learning experience. It took my husband and I both teamwork to get it to actually get it to work, because twisting this is so hard. Undoing it wasn't so bad. You know, you just kind of, you just untwist it. But this is like a little plunger, and you have to fill in the cavity in here with putty. Not too much putty, because if you fill it up with too much putty, then you can't get it back in to twist, which is what... Sorry about that, guys. My video absolutely died at the very end there, so it kind of cut off the last like 5 minutes or so of what I had done. I was so upset because I had talked for so much and my throat was so sore by the time I was done. And then when I turned on my phone and the footage was gone, I was so upset because I'm like, oh my God, I gotta do it all over again. But then this morning, I don't know if the footage just processed and just showed up because it wasn't there last night. I don't know. Anyways, after that whole debacle, I was so frustrated. I just zoned out and I completed this whole section. So this is the upper right corner. And we're looking at kind of like where those hanging shrooms are. Kind of, you can see kind of the beginnings of it right there. And then kind of like the stars. When you step back, like right now, it's pretty close up, obviously. But when you step back, they really start to show. This kit didn't have any ABs. And I don't think I'm going to do any kind of embellishment with ABs because I kind of want to do a Jada Gym Shop that is an original hybrid. Yes, because hybrid is her computer rendering ones. I want to do an original hybrid and see how it turns out. Have a feel for it, and then maybe the next time I do another Jada Gym Shop that is a hybrid, I would have an idea of what might be good for enhancements. Like right here, I could tell you the stars would have looked a lot better with like some crystals, maybe some fairy dust, ABs, and then like the shroomies, a little bit of pop of color for them would have been nice as well. But again, got it from a D-stash, so. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to pop back in there because it ended so abruptly. When it came to the pen, everything was fine. You know, after we unscrewed this, you only need like a little bit of putty, just a little bit. And it just so happened that I had a couple packages of the original white putty that came with the first twist and pick pins that Diamond Art Club came out before they transitioned to that like white wax. But something I want you guys to let me know in the comments. Have you tried putting in other small shops putty? Have you tried putting other shops putty in these tips? If so, how did it go? Second, have you tried wax in these picks? And again, let me know, how did it go? Because I really want to order some putty and some wax from a couple small shops. I'm kind of waiting for spooky season, especially with Drills and Chills coming up very shortly. I'm hoping that especially Pure Bliss Wax Company, if they might be doing a special September box, kind of been holding out for that. So, but I do want to try a couple small shops putties because yeah, I'm trying to branch out into the other small shop space. So leave your suggestions in the comments below, by the way. There's quite a few that I know are very popular and notable in the community, and I definitely want to try them out. But, you know, leave me your favorite picks down below, especially if you have any recommendations on putties that work well in a very interesting climate like South Dakota, because we go anywhere from like freezing cold, -30 with wind chill, to blistering hot 90s with 97% humidity like it is right now. It's been god-awful hot. I do not like the humidity. I did not miss it when I was in California. California was a dry heat. You know, it was 95 degrees. It felt great, especially with a nice breeze. Out here, 95 degrees with 96% humidity, you're about like dying. You get off the plane and you're like, I can barely breathe. And you're like sweating automatically. No, it wasn't that bad, but it's definitely a noticeable difference. So if you know of a good putty that handles temperature change really well, let me know. I mean, if it needs to be popped into the refrigerator or something to kind of, you know, harden up before placing, that's fine. That's fine. And I'm slowly getting used to putty. In fact, you guys will be proud of me. I put putty in this end and this end for this pen. And then I have the putty, obviously, that I loaded up in here. But then I also decided to do it on this end. This is Diamond Art Club's white putty. I figured, you know, I'm going to try something that I liked with this end and slowly branch out and get my feel for putty. I'm slowly getting better on it. So it's a learning curve, a big learning curve for me. You know, it was really stringy and I kind of got a feel for, you know, how you need to like just kind of yank off a chunk and kind of just roll it and then place it in there, and I'm learning. So, but yeah, let me know in the comment section below any comments, suggestions that you might have. And then I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. It is actually the following morning. After a couple cups of coffee, I was prepared to do the whole thing over again. Found out I didn't have to, so yay! Because like my son said, Mom, we haven't played Grounded 2 in a few days. Well, you know, I've been sick with food poisoning for a few days, and then yesterday I needed to do a video for you guys because it's been a bit. So I think my plan is after work, we're gonna have ourselves a nice quick supper, and then my son and I are gonna play some Grounded. You know, we're gonna re-enter the backyard as tiny little people and explore all the big bad bugs and have a whole ton of fun doing it. So I will catch you guys in my next video, which will hopefully be, fingers crossed, get it done in the next day or two, a post review of Fairy Lights by Ivy Dolomar, because she turned out really, really pretty. But I do have some thoughts about it. Nothing bad, just interesting observations. Again, it was an older kit, so, but I definitely want to get that out for you guys here soon. So, I'm shaking my table a little bit, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for sticking through the madness, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!